slots that were critical to the casino's success.
The slots are the prime revenue producer of the casino. To shut down the third on opening day was both humiliating and financially disastrous.
Something could go bad, like the opening of the Taj, and he would say, it's because we had so much business here that this happened. Not that the systems broke down, not that we didn't know what we were doing. We had so much business it broke down.
What about the slot machine thing where they were down for a while?
The slots were so hot. Nobody's seen people play that hard and that fast. Every slot, every.
So what, it blew out the slots literally?
They blew apart. We had machines
that too much
they were virtually on fire. It was like a fuse or like a fire.
Donald is so wrapped up in hyperbole that it's almost constant lie. You know, whether it's the littlest things where, you know, if you had 2,000 people at an event, you know, he would say there were 5,000 people at an event.
Behavior that might have been tolerated in the boardroom or during a private real estate deal, but not from the bully pulpit.
You can say anything in a room, anything, and people do. And we know as real estate people, you always check what everybody says. You do your diligence.
Alan Pomerantz represented the banks that held Trump's debt when he was in financial trouble decades ago.
It doesn't mean that people lie, because they don't necessarily lie, but they sell. And if you tell me something and I don't check it and I buy the real estate, it's my fault, not yours. I own it, it's mine. I don't think it works that way in the world. In the world, everybody listens to what the president says. What the president says matters.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Trump may have changed jobs, but not himself.
There's no belief system. If it will work, I will say it. If it stops working, I'll say it's opposite, and I will not feel any compunction about saying it's opposite because I don't believe anything in the first place.
It's all about telling the story he wants to tell.
Seeing it from his perspective doesn't make a distinction between what's true and what's false. His only distinction is what will work and what will not work.
Thank you very much, everybody.
And if it happens to be true, okay, he'll live with that. That's fine. But there's no governor in his mind that says, oh, you know what? I mean, I really am pissed off about somebody saying something like that, but I'm not going to lie in response to it. That doesn't exist inside his brain. It's just not there. That's the nature of not having a conscience.
And what happens when he's challenged with facts? What does he do?
He has a genius, you know, perverse genius for turning any situation into something that is evidence of his brilliance, even if it's not true.
He did treat me nicely on that speech yesterday.
The need for exaggeration, to always be first and never be wrong, is rooted in the need to be the best, says a biographer.
The truth wasn't quite good enough. And I think this is an important thing to understand about Donald and the Trump way. And the Trump way is to be impossibly superior, to always be winning, always be prevailing, and always be the best thing.
Even if the best thing turns out to be a lie. And as we all know, credibility is the coin of the realm for any president, especially one facing his first foreign policy crisis. Back to you.
And our thanks to Gloria Borger there. Fascinating look back at history.
First president with no military or political experience. Moments like these are the test of whether that makes sense.
It sure is, and we're seeing that in real time because North Korea's nuclear threat is upon us. How are lawmakers reacting to what the North is saying? What do Republicans think about the president's rhetoric? The head of the Republican National Committee is going to join us next.
We go to what?
The all-new Discovery. Land Rover, above and beyond.
As moms, we send our kids out into the world full of hope.
And we don't want something like meningitis B getting in their way. Meningococcal group B disease, or meningitis B, is real. Bexsero is a vaccine to help prevent meningitis B in 10 to 25-year-olds.
Even if meningitis B is uncommon, that's not a chance we're willing to take.
Meningitis B is different from the meningitis most teens were probably vaccinated against when younger.
We're getting the word out against meningitis B. Our teens are getting Bexsero.
Bexsero should not be given if you had a severe allergic reaction after a previous dose. Most common side effects are pain, redness or hardness at the injection site, muscle pain, fatigue, headache, nausea, and joint pain. Bexsero may not protect all individuals. Tell your healthcare professional if you're pregnant or if you've received any other meningitis B vaccines. Ask your healthcare professional about the risks and benefits of Bexsero and if vaccination with Bexsero is right for your teen.
Moms, we can't wait.
Attention homeowners. Quicken Loans has some very important information regarding the U.S. government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. We've told you about HARP in the past, and we're happy to report that nearly 3.5 million homeowners have already taken advantage of this fantastic money-saving program. But there are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. Quicken Loans is here to help you save your money. Why Quicken Loans? The home loan experts at Quicken Loans fully understand the HARP guidelines. We'll work with you to understand your specific circumstances and strive to find the financial solution that's best for you. Then we'll guide you through each step of the mortgage refinance process to make sure that it's both simple and easy. And for 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. If you're not familiar with HARP, it's a U.S. government program designed specifically for homeowners who have little or no equity. A great feature of the HARP program is that most HARP refinance loans do not require an appraisal, and there are fewer income verification requirements. That makes it simpler, easier, and even faster. And even if you've been denied for a HARP loan in the past, new guidelines mean that you now may be eligible. Give us a call and we'll give you a Quicken Loans mortgage review. And we'll do all we can to help you save money on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. Find out if you're eligible to take advantage of today's incredibly low interest rates and start saving money every month on your mortgage. Call Quicken Loans today or go to QuickenLoans.com for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
President Trump's fire and fury warning to North Korea comes as an astounding 73% of Americans say they do not trust information coming out of the White House. This is the latest CNN poll. And even among Republicans, only half say they trust what they hear from the Trump administration. Joining us now is Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel. Good morning, Chairwoman.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Let's start with today, all of the breaking news today, including President Trump's rhetoric about North Korea. We've heard Senator John McCain say that he thinks that rhetoric is at best overheated, at worst could be dangerous. What's the Republican Party's take on this?
Well, I think you just heard from Secretary Tillerson. The president is using rhetoric that will get the attention of Kim Jong-un, somebody who is clearly unstable, who is now making nuclear threats, not just against the United States, but against Guam. This is a perilous situation. And I think President Trump contrasts strongly against the stick your head in the sand policy of President Obama, who ignored this threat. And now we are in a global situation where we have a potential nuclear threat in North Korea, and it's going to take strong rhetoric to let Kim Jong-un know that the United States is serious.
And President Trump's rhetoric also contrasts markedly from Secretary of State Rex Tillerson's. I mean, what he has been saying is that he's trying to launch a peaceful pressure campaign to get the North talking. So President Trump's rhetoric seems to be off message on that.
I think President Trump is doing exactly what we want the president to do. He is saying this is what the United States is going to do if you use nuclear weapons. I mean, this is a person in Kim Jong-un who tortures his people. We look at Otto Warmbier, what he did to him. He has now created ICBMs and miniatures nuclear weapons. He is someone who we should take very seriously. The Obama administration clearly missed the global threat that North Korea posed to the United States of America. We have diplomatic channels open. Nikki Haley went to the UN this past Saturday and got unanimous support for sanctions, even from Russia and China. And now you have Secretary Tillerson working through back channels to try and de-escalate the situation. But the President of the United States needs to be firm that we will act if Kim Jong-un uses nuclear weapons against the United States of America or our allies.
Does it cause you any concern that the new CNN polling that we just showed, that 73% of Americans say they can't trust the information or what they hear from the White House?
You know, I'm not concerned about those polls, because if polls were correct, Donald Trump wouldn't be president right now. I mean, I'm from Michigan. The largest paper in Michigan called the election for Hillary Clinton on election night. And I'm traveling the country and I'm seeing what people are saying, and they support President Trump. And you look at the RNC fundraising even, and in small dollar contributions, we had 250,000 new small dollar donors between January and March. They're not just supporting the president, they're rallying behind him. So I think he has tremendous support among his base. And I think it's a tough time right now when you have, I think the media has been very unfair to the president. You have Democrats obstructing him at every level. He has every obstacle in front of him. And he's still going out and fighting for the American people. 1 million new jobs, unemployment numbers at a record low, consumer confidence at a 16-year high. I mean, this is a president who's delivering on the things that he promised to the American people.
I mean, obviously there are exceptions to that, speaking of repealing and replacing Obamacare. And we just heard from the Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, saying that he said this in Kentucky, he thinks that President Trump has excessive expectations in terms of a legislative agenda for what can be accomplished and how soon. Is the president overly optimistic and not sort of on board with what Congress thinks it can do?
I think the president represents the American people, and he's saying the status quo in Washington is not getting it done for the American people. And when you see premiums doubling, when you see deductibles so high on health care, when you see people suffering as insurers are pulling out of the marketplace, the president is saying we need to put our foot on the gas and keep working for the American people. I don't care what status quo Washington does. It's time to make a change, because
right, but I mean,
people are hurting in this country.
I understand, but of course you have to care what status quo Washington does, because they're Congress.